And he'll be going to Abia, and because Dr. Alex Oti has hinted that it's to celebrate 2 years of his tenure. So I guess it is also in May that President Tinubu would be in Abia for the Misialangwa Airport project. So now my first question is this. Why is President Tinubu suddenly very interested in the Southeast? Is there any economic reason, or do you, like most of the skeptics, think it's just a political move?
Well, he will be in the best position to say exactly what it is, but from everything available to us, it looks like a political move, because 2027 is around the corner, and the narrative is everywhere. He's seen where the challenges he's having in the north, so they're looking for new areas to...
New allies.
Yeah, new allies. You can see what happened in Delta State. People are moving parties. I'm sure all those things are strategies. They all plan where they think they're sure of, where, and all that. So he's trying to increase his strongholds. Maybe he's trying to make strides in this direction. There also a lot of discussions within the Southeast that some of our governors are getting ready to move. So we assume these things are all aligned to that direction, So I hope it's not true, because a one-party system is the worst thing that will happen in this our situation. We're already in a bad situation. So if we give APC all the powers to do what they like, that'll be the end of the country, as it may be. So let's watch and see as the drama plays out.
Because, I mean, the skepticism comes from the fact that Professor Chukwuma Soludo, Barrister Peter Amba, and Dr. Alex Oti are all not in the APC.
Yes.
And those are the very 3 states he has gone to and will be going to this year. But let's look at the economic reasons. Now, when he was here in Enugu, he looked at the ICC, he looked at the Command and Control Center, he looked at the Smart School project. Then we saw the Minister for Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, come before that, and now we are seeing Enugu introducing new mining laws to protect host communities. Are we going to see the case of just like the Minister for Solid Minerals came and now we have this law? Is there something the President's visit might be a precursor for? Because when we saw the Minister of Power, then we saw the Enugu Regulatory Commission. So it almost seems as if after every Abuja visit,
there's something that comes afterwards.
Yeah. So what could the President visit now? What could we be? What do you think Enugu will domicile after President Tinubu's visit?
Enugu or Anambra?
No, I'm saying with Enugu first, because we've seen his visit already.
Yes.
What do you think we domiciled after that? Was there anything you saw that after President's visit, it seemed as if we were more aligned to the center?
He said something about the laws, the mining laws.
Yes. That was Dele Alake, the
visit, yes.
Visit. But I mean the President himself now.
Well, I can't pin anything in particular, but he gave a lot of credit to the governor, which I think was something positive, even though from different parties. I mean, anybody who doesn't see Governor Mba should be seen as blind anyway. So I don't know what it is I can pick from his visit to Enugu. Well, we're hoping. If he's political, his moves are political, so he's going to leave some footprint that people will look at and say, yeah. It's quite a shame that a president who has visited over 20 countries since he came into power, and he hasn't seen all the states in his country. I don't know how these people expect to govern effectively. If you look at the past leaders, you see that their lack of first-hand information about what the situation is has caused their failure. And you come in and you see, if I were a president, I mean, that has been my first trip. My first job would be to go around. I expect you saw them during campaign, and you expected to have done some background, research on every state before you. But as a president, you go and hear firsthand from the people what's going on, what they want. The Southeast has been challenged with insecurity and other things, and a lot of agitation. The people are not happy. It's a place to focus. I mean, there's a level of impact he would have made here by now. He would have been sure of getting the 5 eastern states. Because the Easterners are capitalists. They're about results. They're not sentimental people. So if he came here and gave the kind of impact that was expected from a new government, by now he wouldn't be jumping up and down like they are doing right now. So let's hope there's something positive that's going to come from Abia's visit and Anambra's visit. I doubt what it is. When I heard about the visit, the first thing I went to check is, what is he commissioned in Anambra State? Because I don't see any iconic project that should be commissioned.
Well, I mean, we heard the government house and the Ecolobia flyover.
Oh, so what's the people's benefit from government house? You're building a house for the governor? Is that what we should be celebrating at this time? I mean, we're looking for how to reduce cost of governance, and we're building new government house. When the people in Anambra are struggling with security, that should be the priority. I mean, we should be celebrating security in Anambra State. That's the first thing that should happen in Anambra. But what unfortunate and fortunate as well, because unfortunate that they've not achieved much, fortunate that the president is coming. I hope, because I know the president to be blunt, I hope he will look at Governor Soludo and say some things to him that might change his direction of actions, because I was one of the people who expected so much from Anambra State. Unfortunately, it's not happening. Maybe he's working on things we cannot see, because like in football, the people who play the number 4 position, they're always not seen. Until you remove them, they realize they're doing something. So let's hope there's something they're doing on the background, but I think they should communicate more to the people. Chasing native doctors around is not a problem.
I mean, we saw some things start in Anambra, and they have not yet finished. You know, you talked of things not seen, and sometimes I like to try and piece things together. We've seen recently the Ocha Brigade sealing up and closing factories, working with NAFDAC on people that are making fake disinfectants, fake soap, contaminated chemicals. At the same time, we know that a while ago, Governor Soludo inaugurated a pharmaceutical park. Nothing has moved there. So sometimes I like to think maybe it's two sides of the same project. Kill the fakes and, you know, bring the real. I'm just guessing. But if you were Governor Soludo, what would you request from President Tinubu?
I think Anambra people are predominantly manufacturers and traders. You know, the direction of power. There's gas in the state. I think they should look for a way to bring in a lot of power in Anambra State. I mean, make it available to the people. Let them have, you know, Nnewi is a misery when it comes to power. And this is one of the greatest hubs for manufacturing in the country. So these are the kind of things he should be looking at. You know, things that will engender other aspects of the economy to the whole ecosystem will grow. So it's not about, it's okay to stop fake products, you know. But like I said before, maybe there's something he's doing that we can see. I remember the narrative that came from Lagos State when they were, you know, showing the schools and the boats that Governor Sanwo-Olu, what he has done in Lagos State, to compare with P2B. I actually saw a picture where P2B was in a canoe and Sanwo-Olu was in a boat, you know. And P2B asked one question. He said, the output, it's not about the input, it's about the result. So he was intentional in getting Anambra State to become #1 in education.
Yes.
All this capital you've put in place here, what is the result? So if Governor Soludo is doing something we can't see, let us see result. That's all we want. Like I said, Easterners are capitalists. We don't believe in sentiment. That's why no one person can control the whole East. People go with the result. I'll give you an example with this state, in Enugu State here. A lot of people were against Peter Mba.
Yeah.
He would have probably lost the election if it happened 2 weeks before the time it happened. But fortunately, Enugu State was redeemed, and it didn't happen. Today, the narrative is different. Yeah. Someone was telling me yesterday, said, this party is waxing strong to take out Peter Mba. I said, nobody can take out Peter Mba in Enugu State. It will be an earthquake. I don't know how the person wants to do it, but it has to be the peak of corruption to be able to achieve that. There's no way anybody can win Peter Mba today in Enugu State. So Governor Soludo is a very educated man. I believe he's very knowledgeable. You know, I've had one-on-one with him, you know, once, you know, in the aircraft. I don't know if you remember that, but and he said very, very smart things to me. Things I never opened my eyes to business. But it's quite unfortunate we're not seeing a lot of results. Whether it's the opposition working against him, whether it's people he surrounded himself with, I don't know what it is, but whatever he's doing today, we don't have visibility of it. Hopefully someday, the impact, because sometimes when you're building the framework for something to be built, nobody understands, or a foundation. When you're building a foundation for a house, it's under the building. Nobody sees what you're doing until it comes to the surface. So let's hope that he's, you know, clearing the grounds.
But I mean, in terms of clearing ground, he entered office about a year before Governor Peter Mba. So there's a metric to run him against. He entered a year before Dr. Alex Oti.
Yeah.
So there's also a metric to run him against. They're all in the southeast. They all face the same insecurity challenges. But they are all accused of the same thing, oddly enough, which is that when you get into the markets, people complain of heavy multiple taxation.
Yeah.
Why is it that Only in Anambra has it become something that we've even seen issues of violence and road blocking. But all three have that complaint against them. Is it that, like you said, the people he surrounded himself with, and so the execution? You know, I remember here on Afia, we showed the bid for tax collection. I remember the guy that stood up and said, we have reached 300 million per month. Anything beyond this, if you want somebody to be contracted to get revenue generation, it will go south. And he told him if he doesn't have money, he should sit down. And I was surprised that is coming from someone of the caliber of a former central bank governor. And we've seen the company Bigly Oil cause havoc on the Owerri road.
Yeah.
So these things of, you know, clearing the ground, then we've seen already immediate excesses of the new security outfit being brought up, which many are afraid might be just building a brigade ahead of elections. You know, of course, that's conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
But with all this, you know, there are still things that we can point to. For example, I know road infrastructure. I've gone into places like particularly Orumba South, where the road network all the way from Oka to Very Fair is impeccable. Of course, once you get off the road, it's a different story entirely. Our local government are absent. I dislike blaming local state governors for local
the chairman should do something just well.
Yes. But apart from those little road infrastructures, you mentioned something at the beginning. What else of note will President? I mean, he's going to Abia to commission an airport, flagging of an airport. What is he commissioning in Anambra?
That's the first thing, like I said, that's the first thing I went to look for. What is it in Anambra that is going to be commissioned? You know, it's quite, you know, I would say maybe Soludo's strategy for development is totally different from, you know, but as a man, if you're not arrogant and you really want to be a leader, if you see that what you're doing is not working, the onion is on you as a leader to accept that this is not working and do something different. I mean, there are people to look at and say, okay, what my brother in Enugu State is doing seems to be working. Can I borrow a leave from him? You pay him a visit. I said, bro, what are you doing here? That is what a genuine leader, because the intention at the end of the day is to develop your place and help the people to improve their lives. It's not about keeping to what you said. I mean, arrogance, I mean, I must do it the way I want to do it, because whatever he's doing doesn't seem to show anywhere. I don't know what it is he's doing. Like I said, I know he's a very intelligent man. I don't think
he's a former central bank governor.
Yes, he's not. Outside that, he was a lecturer in my school. Yeah. He's a smart guy. He's a smart. If you speak to him, you see all the intelligence.
I think he's one of the youngest ever professors from Nigeria.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know if you know, when you have achieved a lot, arrogance can come in as well, and then power as well can blind you. So I don't know the people he has surrounded himself with. Are they challenging him to say, His Excellency, this is not working? Or are they those normal political conformists that will sing praise whoever is in power? The way they sang our former governor here, he kept pasting his pictures everywhere. He thought he was doing well. I'm sure he didn't know. Because I don't think Iwan is a very bad person. I think it's just what he saw around him. He thought he was doing the right thing. Now he's seen clearly that the people that surrounded him were the ones that destroyed him. And the present governor here learned from it. And he has the right team around him. And he doesn't even take what anybody says end to end. He hears you, and he hears this person, and he puts his own, because he had a plan before he came in. I want to believe Soludo should have planned before he came in. I don't know where that plan is. Is he still implementing it, or was it a faulty plan? Is he going to re-strategize? Is he going to replan?
Or is the opposition just really strong in Anambra?
Yes.
And are they using, you know, underhand methods? Because a lot of times we can knock the governor, and I find it very easy to knock governors. But a lot of times there are things that you and I cannot see.
I know.
Are happening every
That's why I said
day.
Anambra is very strong.
Yeah.
I remember the days of Mbadinuju.
Oh yeah.
You know, the man cried out, prayed. There's nothing he didn't do. You know, the hands that held him down strongly. You know, so. But if you are, like, if before you say I want to take a job, you're going to look for what are the skill set required to do the job. What are the peculiarities of that work environment before you say I can do this job. So I expect anybody who wants to be a governor to go and do some research. If you have to get consultants, find out the demography of the place, the economy, the peculiarity of every part of that state, what they require, what they lack. Then you go back and make a robust plan. Then you can phase it based on how much budget you have and start the growth. You may not be able to do everything, but when you have a proper roadmap, the next government can easily, you know, roll on it.
Yeah.
So, but we have situations where people come in and they want to do their own thing, not taking into consideration what has happened before them. Look at in the International Conference Center. Look at all that whole corridor, what's going on there. I mean, this is an area that's been abandoned for years because of stupid political reasons. Those things do not belong to any political party or any ex-governor. It belongs to the state. So when this governor came in, he went straight to recover the things that belong to the state, which is governing. He's representing the people properly. So I think Governor Soludo should ask himself, what are the things the Anambra State people need the most? Now, they have education. They're producing educated people, smart people. Where are the jobs for them? How do we create it? We need manufacturing. We need industries to grow. What have I done? He should ask himself those questions. Where is the power? There's gas in Anambra State. Can we build a massive turbine or a couple of them here and there and grow industrial parks where people can spread their factories and things will start growing? But none of those are happening. It's quite unfortunate. I'm one of the people that was so excited when he was coming into power because I like him as a person, and I think he's a smart person. I was even supporting him when he was looking at presidency. Yes, I thought he was the right fit, but I would say maybe I was wrong.
No, but then again, while we are afraid of the one-party state in Nigeria, Anambra is the true republic. Even when you bring local government chairman from the same party, you try to use the power of incumbency. This is a state where the State House of Assembly will always be fractured. You would have one YPP, one Labour, one PDP senator, and an ABGA governor.
Why? Because they have a lot of power brokers.
Yeah, the people in each region. Nnewi is an autonomous city on his own. Onitsha is an autonomous city on his own. Oka on his own. In fact, you would see places like Abia and Anambra don't even care what's happening outside them. Yeah. Just at the back of Oka, Enugu, Obosi. They are all very, very autonomous.
Yes.
Not really needing the next
I tell you what, there's the uniqueness of Anambra State because there are a lot of power brokers who can protect the votes when they are casted so that these people cannot manipulate it. That's why you see that Nnewi can hold his voting block. In Enugu, it's not exactly the same thing. Someone can come up and influence what happens in another place. But if you have a power broker that will say, I remember those days when they used to count, when they were counting the vote in one of the elections. Ngige was there physically in his car. I think when he was running for Senate. Yeah. Just his presence at INEC headquarters, we make the INEC know that there's no jokes around here, you understand? So in Anambra, there are loads of power brokers. You can't just, no one person can come and say, and that's what Soludo needs to understand.
And they are business power brokers, political power brokers.
And sometimes in a bid for the governors to align with these power brokers, you lose focus. So I'm sure he's fighting one of those principalities that are on the ground. I'm sure of that, but before he came in, my own is he should have known that these things exist and prepared, made a robust plan on how to mitigate them. It's not when you get there, you start complaining about something. I remember when Buhari took over and they were pointing at the former government. I said, are you insane? You had been running for 12 years. Didn't you know these people were there before then and the damages they did? You want to take a job, you didn't know what is required to do the job. So anytime you take a role or you aspire to take a role, you must check, what do I need to do this job? Do I have the skill set? Not when you studied biology and religion in school, you want to be an electronics engineer. It's not going to work. You have to have the background to do the job. So Governor Soludo, I thought, had what it takes. But maybe he's a good economist, maybe not a good leader. Who knows? I don't know, but let's wait and see.
And leadership in Nigeria, of course, is fraught with challenges you will not find in most of the civilized world. But moving to Abia very quickly, before we're out of time, because Abia's case seems more clear-cut, mainly because they seem to have an agenda, power manufacturing economy. They don't seem to want to deviate at all from any of those three things. It's industry, power, economy. I have never seen Governor Oti interested in anything outside the value chain of those three.
You see, that's another thing I'm going to say. We talked about Soludo being an economist. This is another economist. That's another man that is properly trained in that same sector. But he has a robust plan. As far as I'm concerned, he had a proper plan. And he's sticking to his plan. And he took time to study. That's another person who ran for this position for a long time. So he had the opportunity to study the area and develop what he wanted to do. And he's focusing and he's achieving grounds. I mean, there are signs that what he's doing, some of the things he's doing now, we may not see the immediate result, but you are sure that this is the direction. In Anambra State, I can't see the direction. I
mean, we look at Governor Oti, not trying to campaign for him or anything, but just reading out the evidence as it is. First thing came in quick wins for the people, went for Port Harcourt Road straight, which is one of the things President Tinubu is coming to inaugurate. an abandoned, 20-year abandoned major highway. 20 years. And after he did it, ahead of President Tinubu's arrival, the media is all up, including Benjamin Kalu and Co, saying Ikpeazu was the best thing that happened to Abia. He left money for Oti. I saw those stories and I'm laughing. You know, there's lots of propaganda, pro-Ikpeazu propaganda ahead of, but maybe just to diminish the efforts of this government. But we saw it. You know, we saw the Julius Berger team that excited the people. Afia TV was on ground. We covered the Julius Berger people who said with their own mouths, and this is not second-hand information, oh, the people here, they are giving us breakfast in the morning. They are so happy to see us.
Cheers, yeah.
So he started with that. Then Geometry came back online. Then the new area, which nobody told up there about. I've been there. I've been taken on a personal tour by the project manager, Henry Okorafor. Nobody told me. I was there. So we've seen all these things. We've seen you know, if you're in Aba, the amount of trucks you would see of different construction companies moving Obo Hill down towards the area where the economic city is and back, you know there's a lot happening.
Landmark is going there too.
Landmark is going there. You know, they've broken ground, they've gotten concessions for any by economic city. They are, you know, so there's so much happening. And it's as if his focus was, we're going back to, he said, I'm going to make this, take it back to the option of being Japan. And just, what do I need? Manpower, machinery, money. The project, it's like project management 101. And that's what
he clearly, yeah. You know, like I said, the Anambra case, once again, if you are developing a proper project plan, you must identify your stakeholders and then find a way to manage them. It's part of the core. Outside your budget and your program, you must have a way to manage stakeholders. I think there's a confusion in Anambra State. I can't even see the policy direction. We can't clearly see today they're chasing the daughters, tomorrow they are fighting insecurity. You know, the insecurity, you can't even succeed. The rate of kidnapping in Anambra is, I don't know, I think it's even increasing. When other places are going down. You know, you remember we had a conversation here in Afia TV about Governor Mba when they announced the sit at home.
Yeah.
You know, and it looked as if they heard what we said. He's always reacting to things. I've been watching this government. Whenever there's an agitation or a contrary view on what he's doing, he takes time to look at it. And so he has some people who are watching what is going on. I don't know if Anambra, you know, arrogance is a bad thing.
It might be a gap because we know that Mr. Mefo just got appointed as Commissioner for Information. There was a bit of a lacuna for a bit. So probably that could have been an issue. We also know that before Mr. Moloku was put at the head of the Anambra Broadcasting, there was also a bit of a gap. So maybe key people in the information sector not being available, and maybe with them being on ground now, his ears he might have more ears on the ground. I'm just guessing.
You know, this is a core area, knowing Anambra for what it is, and those multiple powerful stakeholders. You must have your communication department at top speed at all times. So before the governor came in, that's one of the, you know, talents he needed to identify. And option A, B, C, D, E. For that, that place shouldn't be laid open for a long time. That's a wrong move. So, like I said, I keep talking about arrogance. I sense it. I don't know if it's what's going on, but I think, you know, as a leader, the moment you're empowered, if you're not careful, there's something Governor Sullivan Chime said. Sometime we paid a visit to his house. He said, being a governor is like going to jail. There are a lot of things you will not see again. You're like locked up inside, you know, your team. It's what they want you to see that you see till you come out. So I will advise whoever is thinking of taking any position or any power, any seat of power, to think of the team you're going to work with before you even start your campaign. If you cannot identify people who can take you to where you want to be, because you alone having the dream is not enough.
Very enough.
You must have people who share the same dreams with you, so you can move seamlessly. And then not just one person, you should have a plan A, B, C, D. So in case someone fails or falls on the side along the way, you're able to replace them efficiently and on timely manner. Because it's an issue.
Yeah.
Anambra, there's a gap. There's a serious gap. I'll say it again. Anambra should be the richest state in the East.
Yes, easily.
Easily. You can tell. There's one there to pick up. But unfortunately, we can't see any major thing going on. I keep saying that tarring roads and cutting roads is not development. That's why there's a road in Enugu State. I saw, it's been cleared. I saw it on Saturday. You know, because I paid a visit in that location with the owner of Landmark. There's a road from our home into Enugu town, through Nige. Brand new road. massive development of about 500 square meter, 500 hectares, sorry. About to happen in that corridor. Crazy. That's going to open up that place, and all the herdsmen that pass that route are destabilized and exposed. So this is what you call proper plan. These are not impulsive thinking or thoughts. These are things that have been thought through over time. Every single road that's going on in Enugu has been planned over time, from what I'm saying, because it's faced in a very interesting manner. You see the set that are going on now?
Yeah.
Very soon, another batch will come.
And while all this is going on, we saw what's happened at Achara Layout, Monarch, New Haven, all the inner roads.
Everywhere. The streets are coming alive. And every other development is following suit. So I don't know what the problem is. Governor Soludo, if he does not know what next to do that will work, he should talk to consultants. He's an expert. He knows the value of knowledge.
He's a consultant himself, globally recognized consultant.
So if your area is not here, look for people in that area. They mustn't be Anambra State people.
Yes.
We have seen that in Enugu and even in Abia.
Abia, I mean, the chairman Enugu North, Abia and Abia North, that's, the whole new area project.
Yes.
Ide Udagbala. It's an Anambra man.
So my best man when I got married, he's from Anambra State. He works for Abia State government.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where we're still all Easterners. We're all Nigerians. If you have to get an outside person and he's going to give you result.
Which was where Tinubu was the master in Lagos. If we are going to give President Tinubu credit for that, he was the master of that in Lagos. We saw him.
But unfortunately, now that he's at the center, he's going tribal. I don't understand why. It's quite unfortunate.
Maybe people didn't react to him being so lenient when he was governor.
Yeah, if you're doing something as a leader and you know what you want to achieve and what you're achieving, then you don't have to look at low sides, people who are commenting on the side. Lagos got the result. So why don't you do that at the center? Why are you looking at one direction? You're coming to visit Igbo land. How many Easterners has been given principal positions in this government? Is the visit supposed to be a deceit for Igbo people? People are too deep and too detailed to be deceived by such visits. So if you want to show love and recognition for the ingenuity of the Igbo people, which we know in this country that are about the most intelligent tribe, you should recognize people by giving them what you see, the thing with giving Igbo people positions. I'm not talking about the political people.
No, the ones that affect.
Yeah, the technocrats, people who know what to do.
The minister for the CBN governor, minister for finance, trade and investment.
People who have knowledge.
Nigerian Ports Authority.
Yeah.
This is where
there are people from this east who are sound, very sound, and the world has recognized them that you can use and also get results, not just get good friendship or this thing with the Easterners.
We don't even have to go too far. It will be a full circle when President Tinubu lands in Aba. The legacy of Nigerian power and what it could have been is sitting right there. Because everything we are trying to manage was the precedent set by Professor Batinaji, the only minister for power who used to give us update on power on a weekly basis. How many, even if it's 2 megawatts increase for the week, gave us
some of the hatred the governor, President Goodluck Jonathan got was because they said he was supporting the Igbos. Now let us pick the Igbos that he appointed and see whether it was love or result he was looking for.
I mean, you come from the Ambassador era down.
Exactly.
Junior Konjewela, Ezekiel Sili, Professor Soludo himself.
These were the powerhouses of the government.
Dora Akinli. This was Nigeria's reputation abroad.
The truth is that as far as this country is concerned, if you want to get results, you will find yourself appointing more Easterners than any other tribe. It's simple as ABC.
Aliko Dangote will agree with you.
Yeah, but
he will agree with you definitely. But we've run out of time. We've even extended time. But this is a topic that, for me, is very important because there's all this talk I'm hearing of if Igbos don't align with the APC at the center, nothing will happen here. So my question is, if the governors, if there's one thing you could tell the Abia governor and the Anambra governor, one thing each, that they need to, demand from President Tinubu for whatever favor he's asking from them, what should that thing be?
Well, I think security is the primary thing for both ends. The bias against this part of, you see, you're talking about development without, look at what's going in Enugu. How much is Enugu taking from the center? So our governor should also recognize that they can do a lot without the center. But I mean, like in Anambra in particular, they have security challenge. What is the government at the center doing to support them? Zero, if you ask me. I will call it zero because it's easy to solve that problem. It's not rocket science. Nnamdi Obanya is being held for no reason. Let that man go. Just let him go. You see the impact within a few weeks. They should demand the release of Nnamdi Obanya. The both governors should demand it. They should release Nnamdi Obanya, 1. 2, then at that point they can now find a way to enter the bushes where we have these miscreants. Because I know there's a mixture of the genuine agitators and the miscreants.
Right. The opportunities are found.
Yes, so if Nnamdi comes and speak to the genuine agitators, they will leave the bush. And even if they have to be there, they're there to make sure that the herdsmen are not there. Then these miscreants can be easily picked out and we'll have stability and other things can happen. I think it's one thing that is common. Even the Enugu State governor should ask for the same thing. They should be united in asking for Nnamdi to be released. There's no reason. I mean, we're talking about fairness and equity and justice. The first thing is to release the man who the Supreme Court has said, let's go. Under what ground are you holding him? There's no reason to hold that man till today. You're trying someone that the Supreme Court has said, don't try him again. Release him. So for me, that's one thing. If there's one thing they should ask for, they should ask for the release of Nnamdi Kanu.
That's a very, very key thing and a way to end. Thank you very much, Mr. Chilaka Njoku, CEO Sputnet. And like you've seen, I wasn't lying when I said he's a dedicated advocate for development and prosperity in Ala Igbo. And that's all we can take on the Eastern Business Reports. But Afia Business Morning is not yet over. The child of the market, Market Peking, is waiting to take you to meet all the traders on how markets, which comes right up after this. So stay tuned to channel 254 DSTV, 17 on GoTV, and of course 748 on Free TV. I'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow for another edition of the Afia Business Morning when the exchanges reopen for trading. This is Nnamdi Obanya saying have a profitable business day.